Grandstand Bettors here with 32 NFL season previews in 32 days. We are on day number 24, and we're going to wrap up the NFC East today with a breakdown of the Dallas Cowboys. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our team previews and all of our season-long NFL free picks. While you're at it, go ahead and smash that like button if you are ready for the NFL season to start. Now, before we get into the Cowboys season preview, just a reminder, we are giving away $1,000 in our NFL contest this year over at grandstandbettors.com. The link is below in the description. Go ahead, head on over to grandstandbettors.com, get signed up, and who knows, maybe you'll be walking away with $1,000 this NFL season. While you're over there at grandstandbettors.com, become part of our family and let us do the work while you do the winning. But without further ado, guys, let's dive into the Dallas Cowboys season preview. And to do so, we need to take a look back at 2020 real quick. The Cowboys season came to a grinding halt last season when Dak Prescott had a season-ending leg injury in week number 5. Now, although they were only 2-3 at that point, it definitely played a part in them only winning 6 games, finishing third in the NFC East, and hitting the under in their preseason win total, which was at 9.5 last season. Andy Dalton was a major downgrade from Dak, and it showed immediately when they lost the next 4 games, and they only scored 41 combined points in those 4 games. A really bad season for Ezekiel Elliott, given what the Cowboys were used to getting out of him, also played a part in this. But their offense was far from the biggest problem on the team last year. Their defense, in particular, their front 7, were absolutely horrible. They gave up a league's second worst 158 rushing yards per game, and overall, as a unit, they gave up way too many points per game, giving up almost 30 points each game, which was 5th worst in the league. Keeping Dak healthy and rebuilding their front 7 was definitely the franchise goal heading into the 2021 season. Now, there's not much you can do about keeping Dak healthy besides providing him with a solid offensive line and maybe discouraging him from running the ball. We'll see if the latter of that two actually happens this season, but the Cowboys are really hoping their offensive line will remain healthy this season, which should help Elliott have a nice bounce-back season. Last season, Pro Bowlers Tyron Smith, Lael Collins, and Zach Martin missed a combined 36 games, which also played a part in the offense's lack of success last season. With them returning to the lineup and having already a really stacked wide receiver group with Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup, this offense should return to what it was a couple years ago and be able to put up a lot of points on the board like they did the first 5 games of last season, averaging 32 points per game when most of those players were on the field. Now, defensively, as we mentioned earlier, the Cowboys' front 7 was just flat out bad last season, and a lot of this can be attributed to defensive coordinator Mike Nolan, who really tried running a 3-4 with this unit, and it obviously failed. It cost Nolan his job, but the Cowboys hired Dan Quinn as their new defensive coordinator this year, and he's going to try to help out their front 7. So they added defensive lineman Brent Urban from the Bears, Carlos Watkins from the Texans, along with edge rusher Terrell Basham from the Jets. Now, these guys will most likely see the field a good amount this season and add depth to a defensive line that desperately needs it. At linebacker, though, they do have a solid unit. They'll look to improve on a mediocre season last year, but they did use a draft pick with one of those positions, which we'll get to in a minute. Their secondary was honestly the best thing about their defense last year. They ranked 11th in yards given up through the air behind rookie Trayvon Diggs, and who looked very promising, and behind veteran Anthony Brown. Now, looking at their draft picks, the Cowboys selected linebacker Micah Parsons in the first round out of Penn State University. This is a huge boost to their front 7 and gives them a lot of speed at that linebacker position. He should pair well with Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch, and this should be a much better group than last year with this addition. In the second round, the Cowboys selected cornerback Kelvin Joseph out of Kentucky, who's most likely going to be competing with Anthony Brown for that starting job, but if he doesn't make the starting 11, expect him to see a lot of him this season coming up off the bench. In the third round, Cowboys selected 3 more defensive players, a tackle, edge rusher, and cornerback, who will all be competing for the 53-man roster, but most likely not making that starting 11. The point we want to make here is that the Cowboys brought in a lot of new faces for their defense to see who fits well in Dan Quinn's system, and probably to light a spark under some starters. Players, more often than not, they're going to step their game up a lot when they have to compete with the starting position. Now, bringing in 8 defensive draft picks and several free agents might not immediately help the personnel of their team, but it should push the starters and the rotational guys to step things up this year. Besides their 8 defensive draft picks, the Cowboys also selected 2 offensive linemen, most likely as security in case any of their linemen get injured this year, and a wide receiver from Stanford. With their 11 picks, the Cowboys are bound to have a few elite players to help this team out, but really only time will tell, and that's going to be the case. We do, however, like their first 2 picks, though, to make an immediate impact on the team this year. Now, if we get into their schedule this year, the Cowboys have the second easiest schedule in the NFL. Their divisional games and their over-under is set at 9. We have them beating the Eagles twice, splitting with the Washington football team and the Giants. So in their divisional games, we'll give them a 4-2 record through that 6 games. And the rest of the NFC opponents are the Vikings, Cardinals, and NFC South. We have them beating the Vikings. We have them beating the Cardinals at home, along with the Panthers, Falcons, and Saints, but losing to the Bucs, giving them 5-1 record in the rest of the NFC matchups there. Now, realistically, we could see them losing to the Saints or the Cardinals, so if you want to give them a 4-2 record through there, that's fine too. I just wouldn't go any lower than that. That gives them an 8-4 record with 5 games against the AFC opponents. They would only need 2 wins out of those 5 games to hit the over, and their AFC opponents are the AFC West and the Patriots. Realistically, we have them going 3-2 in this stretch, and this game, those games would allow them to have about an 11-6 record, or maybe a 10-5 record with an extra loss. But with Dak back, some very good offensive weapons, and a revamped defense, we'd like the Cowboys to come back and be strong this season and take back that NFC East division. So our best bet for the Dallas Cowboys season win total, we're going over 9 here. Dallas fans, what do you think your team's going to do this season? Will Dak be able to stay healthy? Put your thoughts and comments below. Let us know your season win total predictions. Also, just let us know in general how big of a Dallas Cowboys fan you are. I was a Dallas Cowboy fan growing up. They had Bernie Kosar at one point, who actually kneeled down in the Super Bowl. He was the last player to hold the ball in one of their Super Bowl wins, so kind of nostalgic always as a Cowboys fan. Now, that's it for us here at Grandstand Bettors for our Cowboys season preview. Stay tuned for tomorrow as we start diving in to the NFC North, and we're going to start with the Green Bay Packers, those cheeseheads in the NFC North tomorrow. As always, sit back, relax, enjoy the preseason, and we'll see you tomorrow.